Well, hey, what's going on, guys? Today I'm going to start making the tubes that go down to the valves on the bottom of our tanks. If you guys remember, we put a valve on the bottom of all 4 of the water tanks. We also have a valve right here for the run that runs the water back to the house. And what I want to do is I want to have an access for that. And I want to make it to where it has a lid. I can easily pop the lid off, reach down in there either with a tool or with my arm. It's like 3 feet down, so I'll probably have to have a tool, but and turn that valve off so we can shut the tanks off for any reason, maintenance, just anything, damage or whatever. So what I did is I went and picked up some culvert. This is plastic culvert. It's 12 inches and it is solid on the inside, and it has these ribs. Makes it super strong. Like I said, it's a culvert for going underneath a road, and I think they're going to work perfect for me just to make a notch out of the bottom, because like I said, these are 3 feet long, so they don't make, a lot of times you could use like sprinkler covers, but they don't make anything 3 inches or 3 foot long. So I'm gonna just use this stuff. It was a little pricey, but there's no other way for us to do that, and I have to have access to those valves. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut these down to 38 inches. That'll give me a little bit of room to add like some pea gravel or something, because what we intend to do is once this is all filled in, this is going to be a main walkway. There's going to be a gate right here. This will all be fenced off, so you won't be able to see our tanks from the house or if anybody pulled up into the driveway. So this will be kind of like isolated and hidden. But this is going to be the main walkway. There'll be a gate right here, like I said. And I'm going to put pea gravel or something right here to make it nice to walk on. So I want to have something that's going to be flush with the pea gravel and have a lid so we can access it. So I think I'm going to do that. So I'm going to cut 6 of these pieces, and then we'll start fitting them to those valves and see if this is going to work. I think it is. This is the best thing that I could come up with. So let's cut a couple of these and then see if we can fit them onto those valves. All right, safety glasses. Here's our 38-inch mark, and I basically want this to be right at the top. So I want to try to cut this rib right here, right flush with this whole rib, and that way that's kind of like a big cap. And then I went and picked up, I actually had to order them, some covers that go on top of these that will screw down into this solid piece of plastic right here. So I want to have this whole thing be the top. Then the next one, this little piece that sticks down is going to stick down into the ground so you won't see it. So every single one of these I'm going to cut. I'm going to try to cut flush with one of these ribs. So let's see how this goes. Just going to use my skill saw. Set it as deep as it'll go, because I don't know. Might have to get the big saw out. Looks like it's cutting through there. Oh yeah, this is working. Alright, not too bad. Looks like a little bit, I cut just a little bit too close on this one, so I'm going to make sure that I leave just a little bit of that lip that's in the middle here. So I'm going to try to cut it more towards the center of that. But that'll be fine. The cap that I bought actually covers this whole thing, so it's not going to matter that much. So let's go see if this fits in our spot. Alright, there it is. It's going to sit down on top of there, and then you'll be able to get down in there and close that valve. So now what I need to do is I need to make notches in the bottom of this to notch around those pipes so that it slips down and it actually sits on that bed of sand that I set all of these water tanks on. So I need to cut it down. Now that it's sitting there, I'll measure the distance I need to do, and then I think what I'm going to do is take some of this spray paint and just mark the sides of that where I need to cut it off. Then I'll just take a jigsaw and make a U-shaped notch out of that pipe, and then have it slip down over and then set on a bed of those round rocks we use for our French drain. I'm going to put that all down in there so that when you look into the pit, all you see is just a bed of rocks down there. I think it's going to look really cool. And then make sure that it's level. So here's kind of the level that we want to go with. I have a block that's about 1.5 inches of our concrete exposed right there, and then I'm going to level this over, and then that's the height of where I want to set this tank. So it has to drop down about 5-6 inches. So what I think I'm going to do is I think I'm going to use a hole saw. I'm going to take the hole saw and I'm going to drill a round hole up here. Wherever I need to come down 6 inches will be the top of the pipe. So I need to put a hole at 6 inches, and then I think I'm going to take my skill saw and just finish the cut so that this will be a nice, perfectly round U-shaped hole for this. I'm going to do this back one first. I'm going to set this pipe on there, and then I'll mark the sides. I think with the angle of the pipe, it's going to be about a 3.5 inch hole saw for the pipe, and then a 4.5 inch hole saw for that fitting up there by the tank. So I grabbed a 3.5 and a 4.5, and I'm gonna drill this pipe and see if it works, because this is a very expensive little test. All right. That looks like it's going to be absolutely perfect. So we'll mark the sides and then switch to that smaller bit and cut those. All right, we got a pile of parts. But there's the markup we're going for. And then here's our culvert pipe for our like manhole. And I just have it all kind of notched around there. See, kind of just plumbing just kind of goes through it. This will be sitting on a bed of rocks, so it's not resting on these pipes at all. And then we'll just continue down. We have 5 more to make. All right, so we're about to do our test. We're gonna, before we can backfill these tanks, I wanna make sure that the valve and the connection on the bottom of the tank doesn't have any leaks or anything. So what we did is, when we had all that rain, we filled up this first tank, you know, like maybe 1.5 feet or so of water. And I'm gonna slowly open up the tanks in the line to see if we can let water go in there. So I have Tanya down ready to open up this line. I just need to get up on top of the tanks. All right, you can see we have, it's hard to see that. We have, I don't know, at least 1 foot, maybe more. So I'm gonna have her, she's gonna open up that valve, and I have that valve to this tank, the second tank, open. So it should run from the first tank over into the second tank. Let me get up here and open up this lid so we can see the water go in. Oh, a little dirty in there, but okay. Are you ready?
I'm ready. Are you ready?
I'm ready. Here we go. All right, so we'll let that transfer. These 2 tanks will level out, and then once that gets up above our valve and stuff, then we'll open up the next tank in the line and check that valve connection, and then we'll do our final one and check that. All right, we have all 5 of these built. I guess we're gonna call them a manhole, though we're not gonna be able to get down in there, but at least they'll give us access to these valves. And then, as you saw, we opened up a valve. So let's check this fitting. And everything looks really good. We don't have any leaks. The water line has leveled between the 2 tanks. So let's open up our third one here and test this one. Okay. So now it's open, and we'll just wait for the water to transfer in there. I don't know if you can hear it. So once that transfers out, then we'll check this last one for leaks, which I don't anticipate anything because I double checked everything before we connected them. I made sure all that stuff was tight, but just a good double check before we fill all this stuff in. And then now we can start adding all those rocks. good morning, guys.
Good morning.
We're back out here at the water tanks, and we're gonna start filling this French drain. I did a little bit yesterday just to kind of get a game plan of how we're gonna run these manhole pieces. I don't know what you'd call them. I'm calling them a manhole. I don't know.
It's your access.
Yeah.
Your valve access.
Yeah, so the valve access. So we're gonna put those in all 4 of the tanks, and then the other one, like you saw us do yesterday, or saw me do yesterday, but now that I got back up here, so she's gonna be filling buckets of rocks up, bringing them to me, and we're gonna get this whole French drain filled all the way. We have a pile of rocks over there that we need to use up. We should have plenty. Hopefully we have enough to like spread them down on the ground around the tanks as well, just to give us a little better filtration for the water to hit the French drain. But I think we're set to go. We got the tractor filled up with rocks, got it to a nice height for Tanya to start shoveling, and
yeah, I'm super excited.
It's getting hot fast, so
we're
going to try to get these rocks all used up, and then we can start backfilling our main tank after we run some lines over here. But
yeah,
we could backfill the size.
He's like really excited to
I want to backfill so bad.
But there's still a lot we have to do before we can actually backfill.
Well,
so
nothing gets on this backside, so we could actually start putting dirt here once we get some rocks around and just leave that access open. So I'd love to start putting some dirt in this hole. Okay,
all right,
so let's go.
okay.
You can fill mine up a little bit more because we haul water every day.
That's what the guns are for?
The
So you want 4 scoops in each of yours?
I like half. You're going to be surprised. So last time we were hauling rocks was before we were hauling water every day.
To the garden. Alright, there you go. Definitely carry more than I was able to before.
Uh-huh.
I just filled it like the same as what I gave you.
Uh-huh. I told you.
Like a glove.
Now I just need that level.
See, I could never do that. All right.
Need to go down just a little bit. Okay, so here is our last manhole valve access thingamajig. And this valve is our last valve to put on, and this is going to drain our system that's above ground. All the downspouts, all the lines leading into the tanks, all that stuff that's above ground that you can see, we want to be able to drain that down below the frost line, which will keep us from having our lines freeze and break. So we have this valve placed in between the first two tanks down there, and the hard part is getting a valve down in here. Like I said, these are only 12 inches wide, and I can't get down in there to work from up above. So I have to do everything from up here. So I took this pipe over to where our line is that we have to do, and I put a mark here, and I drilled a 2-inch hole, which will fit a piece of PVC, 2-inch PVC, that's going to slip into that fitting down there. And so now what I need to do is I need to grab some spray paint, and I need to look at up here, because I can't just drill a hole just 90 degrees off of it. So the valve is going to be about like that or so, at least a little ways away from the pipe so I can turn it. So now what I need to do is I need to mark where this pipe needs to exit this thing. So I'm going to go ahead and just eyeball down through here, and I know I need to be right here, center. So here is the center of this hole is going to be right there. So I'm going to just put a little dot, and then we'll drill another 2 1/4 inch hole, which is just a little bit bigger than this pipe, and then we'll see if this works out. I might have to get in there and kind of manipulate the hole just so it runs through there. So that way we can set this in here, glue this fitting into, or glue this valve into the fitting, and we could run another pipe from outside that'll go all the way over to our drain line. So there's the top of my hole in the bottom, and I'm going to line up the bottom of the hole with this little extra seam they have on here, so you can kind of see. So I'm going to use that as a guide, and I'm going to come over here and see if I can
go up a little bit.
Get this to go in here.
There you go. This one.
So it looks like I'm off just a little bit. Okay, so we got our second hole drilled. Here's our valve with that extra piece of pipe, and then here's our other pipe, and you can see it fits in there pretty tight though. So I just want to make sure I can shut this valve off. I'm going to have a tool, so I have a little bit more leverage, but it looks like I might want to take a little bit more out of this edge just to get that valve to be a little bit away from the actual edge of this, to get us a little easier access to it. So no big deal, I'll just take the hole saw and just kind of hog out that hole on the side, and then we'll hook it up. Okay, so we're down here in the pit, and there is the fitting that we have to connect this valve to. What I'm going to do is measure how far it needs to stick into this valve so I can feel where it stops. And then I know it's going to go into that fitting about 1 1/4 inches. So it looks like 3 1/2 would be tight. So let's cut a 4-inch piece, and then we'll see how it fits. So we have our 4-inch piece here, and it's basically just going to slip into that fitting. Has to go in there quite a bit. Ooh, I don't know, that's pretty tight. So what I'm worried about is I need to make sure that this elbow is going to reach this line here. So it looks like I could cut a little bit off that pipe and get it to go, you know. It will slide in there once I glue it, but I don't want to push it in there before I glue it, because then I might not get it back out. So let me go trim this down just a little bit, and then we'll try it again. Okay, we got our piece trimmed down. Let's glue it up. I'm going to go ahead and glue the pipe first, and let's glue the fitting. Keep the valve nice and straight. here is our pipe coming. That's actually going to lead to the drain. Slips right in there.
Well, hey guys. So Levi and I are about to continue working on, you know, the rocks and stuff over by the water tanks. But the other day, one of our sweet neighbors who lives on that like 110 acre parcel right there came over to bring Ryder like a deer antler for him to chew on. And the yellow jackets are terrible. And as he was leaving, he got stung in the hand by one of the 1,000 yellow jackets. So he came back over yesterday and had 2 homemade yellow jacket traps. And so Levi put him over here on the foundation to try and keep him away from where we're working. We were actually going to try and do some stuff over here, but honestly, they're kind of still being a little bit aggressive. But it's been like honestly working wonders to hopefully knock down some of the population, because after that last sting I got, I'm really terrified. So yeah, we still have a few bees hanging out over here, yellow jackets hanging out over here, but not as bad as they were. Even Ryder can hang out outside without being harassed now, because he would come out and then just want to go right back in. But we're gonna continue.
Yeah, hopefully yellow jacket free. It really did a big job over there by the trailer.
Oh yeah, there would be some, I mean, just hovering all over, like you were worried about stepping on them, and but now there's just maybe a couple.
Just a couple random ones. I was working on the hot water, or the furnace, the refrigerator. Sorry.
We're still having problems.
We're still having problems with our refrigerator. So I was over there working, and the day before that I was over there working on it, and there were like 10 all around my...
Oh my gosh. No. Oh no, it just went in the... Okay, good. It came back out. It's been really sad. Oh, we've had a couple of hummingbirds go in there and not make their way back out, and that was
we put a feeder over by the chickens to hopefully keep them over there, have some food for them, because they're obviously searching for something. Yeah. And we have one of the windows open in the barn. I think that's helping too.
Yeah,
to
after
get them out of there.
We found a couple of dead ones in the barn, we just have been leaving the window open up there. And
yeah, so yeah, today we're gonna hook up this polyline. That's gonna be cool. We have this big, huge, elaborate extension piece. It's called a Ford fitting, and this is gonna hook up our polyline, and then we're gonna convert that over to the 2-inch PVC line. So this is like the last step for us to hook up these water tanks, and then we'll be completely done. So I'm really excited to get this going. So let's grab that poly line. It's heavy, and we'll drag it over here and put it in our trench, and we'll just unroll it through the trench and then hook this up, and then hopefully the bees will subside by tomorrow and we could run the rest of the line over to the house. That'd be cool.
Yeah. I feel like it's gonna like slingy explode kind of a... You see what we got? Yeah.
All right, ready?
Yeah, it's gonna be like the wiggle wire where it wasn't used to have it.
That was anticlimactic, huh?
Does it like after a while? How are we supposed to do that?
Oh no.
If I let go, it's gonna swing back at you.
Yeah, hold that thing. So this needs to be like underneath of this.
Yeah, you just need to just keep it going. There you go. That might be good for now. Maybe. Oh, okay.
See, that's the problem. It's like that's going to cause massive
Well,
pressure.
we need to get it straightened out. So. You might have to get another one of those concrete stakes. Kind of put a couple of them here, and then just kind of help it straighten out.
So you see, after all these fittings get in here, the pipe needs to be about right here.
Mm-hmm.
So
I mean, we have.
Relax a little bit.
How much do we have? Do we have enough? Or
we have 200 feet, and it's like 150 feet to the.
Do we need it to run to the bedroom, back bedroom as well?
Nope, this is just going into our well pump, our water pump.
Okay.
Underneath of the laundry room. So that's like 150 feet. You can only buy 100 feet, 200 feet.
Okay.
So we had to buy 200 feet of this, so we'll have like 50 foot of waste.
Okay, so you could definitely cut a little bit off.
Yeah.
Or I can just, like I said, just pull it.
Yeah. So, but I do like that whole concrete stake idea, because then we could kind of get it in like a nice line.
We could actually just, and leave them there.
Yeah, we just leave them in there.
Because we could put them on both sides and then keep it really straight.
Yeah. All right, well, let's put this fitting together, get it all glued. Okay, we got our poly pipe in the hole here, and the way we're going to connect this poly pipe to our 2-inch PVC is through a Ford fitting. It's a brass fitting, and it consists of a couple different things. There's a sleeve that we need to put into the poly line itself, and it is actually just to help prevent the poly line from crimping and crushing where we connect it. This Ford fitting has like a barbed slip that the pipe will go into, and then you just take that screw and tighten it down. And these barbs, they kind of look like threads, but they're really not. They're exactly the same. They don't thread down, and those are going to actually grab onto the pipe and prevent it from being pulled out. So this is the slip fitting for that. Then it has a gasket that goes into this reducer. This reducer goes into one side of the fitting, and then it is going to go into another reducer that's going to step this up into a 2-inch PVC line, because these poly lines are not the same dimension as a PVC line is. So this is going to step us up into a 2-inch, and then we're just going to use a slip fitting to a threaded fitting, and this is our 2-inch line. So this threaded fitting is going to thread into here, and then we have a chunk of pipe cut. We're going to glue this into the fitting, and then we're going to glue it into our main valve. And this main valve is going to shut off all the water to the tanks. For some reason we want to have all the water shut off. We can just come over here real quick and shut this one valve, and it will shut all the tanks off. So that's the way we're going to connect this poly line, and this poly line is going to run all the way to the foundation, into our crawl space, and over to our well pump with our pressure tank and all that stuff like a typical house would have. So just your normal hookups for all of that. But our goal is to get this buried and all the French drain filled in today, so we want to hook up this poly line. So what we're going to use is some pipe dope and some pipe tape. And like I did the fittings on the bottom of the tanks where the threaded valves are, I'm going to do a double whammy here with pipe tape and pipe dope, and hopefully that will never have an issue with it. I talked to my good plumber buddy, and this is what he recommended we do. And so we are going to totally do every little thing we can to prevent any type of leakage. So let me go ahead and glue up these 3-threaded fittings with this double attack here of the pipe dope and the pipe thread tape. And then we'll glue this in here, and then the hard part's going to be to run this polyline, because as you saw, it's super rigid and not easy to do. So Tanya came up with a couple of good ideas, maybe using some stakes, and we'll show you guys how we figure out that. I don't know if this pipe wrench is big enough. It's still by you. Bee just chased Tanya away. She is terrified of those bees now. And the funny thing, she never was afraid of bees before, but after you get stung 4 times in a couple weeks, you really start panicking. So I'm just going to go ahead and use some pipe wrenches here, and I want to be really careful about these PVC connections. Because I could easily crack this PVC if I do it as hard as I can. So,
where do you want me to go? I'll try not to freak out again.
so you can hold that one down.
I don't know if I'm going to. It's coming out.
Just slide it into that. See that thing? There you go. Coupler there.
Let me put some of those on.
Alright, so this is our weakest link right here.
Here you go.
Thank you.
Need some more, right?
Yeah, that's perfectly lined up right there. Okay. Oh, that's super nice.
Works really great.
The poly needs to go right to that fitting,
Yeah.
so it needs to be scooted back just a little. Not much though. Yeah. We'll do that.
Perfect.
All right. So next thing we need to do. Let me take this out. I'm going to take my pocket knife, and I'm just going to kind of deburr this edge here. Just kind of take a little bit out. You can kind of see it has, kind of makes it like a little bigger than the pipe is, because this fitting like is super tight to get in there. So by doing that, you can get it started in there, and then that's how it should look. think that's pretty good. All right, so you're gonna hold that. I'll probably go get a wrench, honestly, but maybe not. All right. All right, we're gonna prime these up. This is our final connection.
A little nerve-wracking. We have one shot at this.
Yeah. After that big 45 for the 4-inch line, now we're a little nervous. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Here, let's do a little trial run. Oh yeah, it's gonna be no problems. All right, here we go. Double dip.
It's only acceptable with glue.
That's right. Perfect. Look at that.
Well.
All right, that was easier than I thought it was going to be, honestly. We've been like dreading running this polyline because we've never done it before, and it seemed like really nice. I mean, that fitting, that Ford fitting was over $100.
It was over $100 just for that one fitting.
So I wanted, you know,
it was worth spending the extra money
exactly.
for, you know, the assurance that it'll probably be the better choice and last longer and things like that.
Yep. So this is how all the wells are done. They use these fittings to put those in there because they're permanently down in the ground, and so I feel very comfortable with that. All right, so our next step is we need to support this valve. You don't want to have any type of pressure pulling down on those fittings, so we're just going to go ahead and just pile this with rocks and continue our French drain. Place our manhole, then we'll finish the French drain with the rocks that we have, and then we'll be all done.
Oh no, don't record me.
When we wake, hear the birds and see the sun. Side by side our fears are done. Oh, the good times just begun. Oh, we know what we have, let's hold on.
All right.
All right, we're done with rocks.
All right, the final step for hooking up this water catchment tank is to put a gauge on here. We went with this gauge from Rain Harvesting, and it basically is custom set to each individual tank. You just adjust where the full and the empty arrows are, and it has a float that will just float with the level of the water. So because our tanks are basically empty right now, we're going to go ahead and throw this in now. We can set the full with it just barely in there. We'll know right where it is, and then we'll let this drop all the way down to the bottom, and then set the empty, and then throw a couple screws in here, and it'll be all set. It's pretty simple. All right, first step, we have to drill a hole into our brand new tank, just for the gauge, just 1.25 inch hole saw, and we got a little mark on here where we like it. I'm gonna go ahead and start drilling. This is one of those cheapy bits.
We also don't want the...
Yeah, I'm trying to keep the stuff from falling out of the tank too.
into the tank.
Into the tank. Come on. It's like welded itself back on there. Thanks, Mr. Weld Tank.
Oh, yeah.
That was luck right there. Hey, you know what I've always said?
Better be lucky than good.
I'd rather be lucky than good. Alright, next thing we're going to do is pop this lens off here. It just pops off. There's a couple little knockout spots where you can just stick a screwdriver in and pop that off. And then what we could do is set our indicators for our specific tank, so you could adjust this depending on the size of your tank. This little black thing here is the actual arm that this is going down. So you can kind of see as this goes down, the black arm indicator moves. So the red and the blue or green ones stay positioned where you want them, and then this one goes through. So what we're going to do is basically with the tank full right here, we're going to put our full indicator right on there, because this being set down here, this is about where the water level is going to be, so it's actually perfect. So now that we got that in there, we could drop this down into our tank and then slowly lower this down so it doesn't break. All right, hit the ground. So we're going to go ahead and just pop this down in our hole, and then now we can move our red over to empty. And then as this tank fills up, it's going to go around, and then when it gets to full, you're going to know your tank is full. This just has 2 screws to put in, and then we're completely done.
Well,
That's it, we got it done.
it's done. Levi did 95% of it.
You just helped me with the hard stuff.
But it's finished. It is completely 100% ready for rain.
Yeah.
We have lots of empty space in these tanks that we want filled.
Yeah.
So
Feels really good to have it done.
yeah.
Everything worked out exactly like we planned. To get in these 4 tanks. A big thanks to Colton for digging this hole for us. We couldn't have done it without him. It would have taken us a month to dig it with the tractor.
I don't think we would have been able to do it.
I don't think we could have either. So
No.
big ups to him. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
And everything worked out great. I love the little rain gauge. But yeah, thank you guys for tagging along. This build was really fun to do, and I'm very happy that it's done.
Yeah. So that'll be it for this one.
See you guys on the next one.